why it is important to date a man who has, if not the same amount of success than you or more. I'm going to speak on behalf of women towards other women just because I myself am a woman. But I'm going to tell you this one thing specifically. The most important reason why you should date a man who has the same amount or more success than you is because men by nature have a tendency to be very competitive. And also they double as a provider. And majority of relationships, men are the providers where women are the nurturers. So this leaves the point being that if you are dating a man who has less success than you or less drive for success, this person is going to in turn be jealous of you in some type of way. And this in the long run can be very detrimental, especially if this is a man you are considering or are already raising a family with. And men are extremely competitive, whereas women naturally are nurturers. Women don't find themselves competing with other men. Women compete with themselves, and low vibrational women compete with other women. A high vibrational woman will only compete to be a better version of herself. Whereas if you are dealing with a man who feels emasculated by being with a woman who is more successful than him, whether that is through some type of social standing, abundance-wise, or both, this man can tend to put himself into a negative tendency, into a karmic cycle, into a karmic state. And this is what ends up being very detrimental in relationships, because you will find, even if you start dating someone and you're both on the same path, but you end up being the more successful person in the long run, this man will do what he can to hold you back. Whether that be through cheating, whether that be through him trying to destroy your reputation or your standing in said career or said momentum of success. And for others of you, if that person is unable to do so, the man will even go as far as to put in some type of way of spending your success or making you feel a lack thereof. So for example, withholding physical love from you. For others of you, it could be in the form of this person trying to overspend your money, trying to guilt trip you for making you feel bad for being the provider or being someone who is more successful, or saying that you work too much. For others of you, this could even be a man trying to basically succumb to gambling addictions, drinking addictions, different ways to spend your hard earnings to make you feel as though you're doing something wrong by being more successful. And this is the thing, when it comes to relationships, it shouldn't be that way. It should be that you both are a team, and no matter who is more successful or who isn't, you should both be proud of each other and uplift each other. That's what happens in a healthy relationship, but not all relationships are healthy. So this is why I just wanted to talk about this in a video, because if you notice a lot of women that go through cheating, neglect, narcissistic relationships, things like that, it usually has to do with the woman either being the provider, being more independent, being more successful, or having a higher status. And like I said, it's just a natural thing in men to feel extremely competitive with one another, with human beings in general, whereas women are a tendency to be more nurturing. They happen to have a capacity to feel emotions on a different aspect than men do, right? You always hear women from Mars, men from Venus, whereas to translate that, it's like men are really upfront. What you see is what you get, whereas women can be incredibly more complex with their emotions, with their thoughts, and most likely with the way that their mind thinks about certain things. So it just comes down to, naturally, men are very competitive because they strive to be a provider, they strive to be a protector, which is a great thing. But if a man feels emasculated or less than in a relationship, it can turn extremely toxic or extremely volatile, in a sense that that man will purposely try to sabotage a good woman who's doing her best to provide for her, the relationship, and in turn, sometimes a family. So just something to think about if you find yourself to be constantly getting in relationships that are unsuccessful. think back to those relationships. Did majority of those relationships you happen to be the more successful partner? Because if you are a woman watching this and the answer is yes, well, here is a little bit of an insight as to why, especially if anything I just said, any of those points struck home for you. Cheating, being lied to, being neglected, being made feel as though you were the problem, being made feel as though you were devoting too much time to your career or to your successes in life. Because a healthy partnership, your partner would want to see you be the best version of yourself, be the most successful, happiest version of yourself. Whereas what it happens to be is if someone feels, a man feels as though you are more successful than he is, he will in turn try to hold you back from said success to make himself feel like more on an even playing field. So next time you consider dating someone romantically, make sure it is someone who has the same mindset as you, the same success as you, or if not more, because anyone who is more successful than you is going to want to see you succeed. They're going to want to see you lift yourself up to a place of win, of victory, of success. And I'm sure 99% of men who watch this video will agree. This video is geared towards women, but for the men that do happen to tune in, would you not agree? If you happen to be the provider, the more successful one, the person who holds down the family, you would want to see your woman win. But it can feel extremely immature or like a competition to a man who feels emasculated by feeling as though his partner is the one being the essential breadwinner, quote unquote. So ladies, just keep that in mind next time you're considering dating someone new. Try to aim for someone who is extremely successful themselves and watch the way that your relationship with that person will change. The way that you view love will change because you will be with someone who wants to help you succeed. And think about the very successful men. You'll hear a lot of times where certain men will be extremely successful. They'll want to see their woman succeed. They'll want to invest in them, following their dreams, going back to school, getting a degree, starting a business, being that person to help provide for their partner. So yeah, just something to think about next time you are considering dating, and think back to relationships. If they did not work out and you are on a path to success, ladies, find someone who has the same healthy mindset as you do. Partnerships are about you both winning. It's not about one person being ahead of the other. Remember that, keep that in mind, and see the red flags in the beginning. If someone's already showing you signs of jealousy, or for example, if you have certain people you hang out with, certain invites, and you have a partner who is becoming very jealous or overprotective or trying to stop you from going to said things, especially if it has anything to do with career-related events, work meetings, work dinners, things like that. See the red flags for what they are so that you don't find yourself submerged in a relationship later on where you are surrounded by nothing but red flags of a person purposely trying to hold you back based on them feeling a lack of confidence in their own success thus far in their life. So drop a comment if you do agree on this, and definitely share your experience, especially if you're a woman who's been through exactly the scenario that I'm speaking upon. Share in the comments a way that you found later on in the relationship was a red flag, or something that was done that made you realize that someone you were dating was trying to hold you back from your success, or was jealous of you being someone who was more successful than them, intimidated by it.